edition of On the Money with Secure Money with Brian Quaranta. And today we have Neil Major with us. I'm Rebecca Powers. I was a longtime news anchor, investigative reporter, and it is a thrill for me to be here each week with these wonderful guys and in your living rooms and homes. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you, Brian. Good to see you, my friend.
Great to see you. New year, new information.
Absolutely. And Neil Major, one of your senior advisors, is really in your stead the last few weeks, been on the show. So we're so glad to have him.
We're very glad to have him here.
We talked a lot about your book and the importance. The reason.
New one coming, by the way.
We talked about that a few weeks ago. Yes. I gave the little hint that you're writing a second book. And we want everyone to get this. Just quickly, why is it so important for people to keep it simple is what you've done here?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of noise in the marketplace. And there's paralysis by analysis. And I feel that people are intelligent. And I think if you give them good information, they can make informed decisions. The problem is there's so many different opinions on how to do things.
Right.
And so people get confused. One of the things that we always hear week after week after week when people read the book is, why has nobody made it so simple for me? If I would have known this 10 years ago, things would be so much different. And that's why, folks, I want you to go to onthemoneyoffer.com right now and get a copy of this book, because it will change your life. It'll change your family's life. And it will just make you have better conversations, even if you're working with an advisor right now. So you can ask better questions and understand, are they really doing the best for you?
And is it holistic? Because we talked about it last week, how every piece of your plan affects the other pieces. You mentioned the word questions. Do you mind if we jump in? We have some great questions this week. This is from Wexford. Greg and Karen, 66 and 64, they say, we are planning to retire in 2 years. Should we shift to more conservative investments now, or should we wait? Great question.
That's a great question. Yeah, I love that question. I think, when we're moving into retirement, we never want to change lifestyle because of something that is out of our control. Right? So my question to these folks would be, let's say that you have $1 million saved right now, and in 2 years, because of market volatility, you had $750,000. Would that change your ability to retire, right? So the focus is not on continued accumulation, though that part's important. The focus needs to be on the strategy of their income in 2 years.
Well, and the thing is that going conservative, even though they're 66 and 64, going conservative, that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. They may not need to. Depends on how much they have in Social Security. Depends on whether or not they have a pension check or not, right? So what sources do they have that are driving income right now? Do they have rental properties? Because if they have those three sources of income, the argument could be made that they could keep more of their money positioned at risk, right? Versus if they didn't have any of those income sources and they only had Social Security, then peeling off a portion of that money to make it more conservative, to drive income, would be the prudent thing to do, right? And this is why everybody's situation is so unique. Your situation is unique to you. There is no cookie cutter answer in financial planning. None. Zero. And so you really have to sit down with a fiduciary firm that's going to take the time to understand your moving parts, your goals, so that a plan can be engineered for you. You know, the 5 biggest mistakes that we see all the time that people make are in the areas of income, taxes, investments, healthcare, and estate planning. I don't want to see you make those mistakes. So go to onthemoneyoffer.com right now, get a copy of the book. It truly is a simple guide to help you map out a retirement that will last the rest of your life.
And we always say the purpose of your money determines the placement of your money, right? 100%. We talked a little bit about noise. And so that's always interesting too, right? Because, these folks, to your point, they may or may not need this money to produce income. Maybe they have great income streams and they want to leave it to the kids. And so what we always hear is, people getting noise from people that maybe aren't qualified to give them information about their plan. So if I tell you, bank CDs work great for me, you should do bank CDs. Well, it might work great for you. It might not work at all for you. Right? So you have to understand, to Brian's point here, is your plan has to be individualized and tailored to your needs and specific goals.
And when you go to onthemoneyoffer.com, not only do you get the book, you also get an appointment for a complimentary consultation. And to their points, you're not a cookie, right? You don't want the cookie cutter one size fits all.
Right.
What does that first appointment feel like? Because it's such a great question, but how do you know how conservative you should be if you don't really know what risk you're in?
Well, look.
And that's what y'all figure out.
I like hard facts.
Exactly.
I don't like hypotheticals. There's too much BS in hypotheticals in financial planning. All these fancy reports, well, if the market does this or it does that, it does this. I hate that stuff. You know, when I build Secure Money Advisors, I wanted to build it off of as many constant variables as possible, right? I didn't want variables. I wanted constant numbers, right, that I could count on.
Yeah.
And there are certain tools that allow us to do that, right?
Exactly.
The annuity being one of them. I know exactly how much income I can get somebody for the rest of their life, if they die, the rest of their spouse's life, with a certain portion of their money. And this is why a lot of our clients choose to bucket their money, because every dollar needs to have a job.
I love that.
Too many people keep all of their money in just one account, usually an IRA or a 401k, and this is the answer they'll get from their advisor. Well, when you're ready to retire, you just let us know, we'll start sending you money. That is not a plan.
Right. And that is a big point about taxes, tax planning forward. Why would you take risk to make $1 when you could do a tax plan forward and save $1?
Yeah. Neil is absolutely outstanding at planning taxes for our clients.
Nice.
He does it consistently year after year after year, and it's a big part of the annual review process for him, because there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it.
Yeah, I did over 125 Roth conversions last year for our clients, and what I think people don't really understand about federal taxes is, one, it's a progressive tax system. And I don't think they understand that if you go $1 over into a different tax bracket, only that dollar is taxed in that tax bracket, right? A lot of people think their entire amount of money will be taxed then. So with the one big beautiful bill and the standard deduction and where tax rates are, a lot of our clients have a lot of wiggle room inside that 12% tax bracket to do tax planning. In our opinion, if you can do tax planning at 12%, that is a steal of a deal and really a no-brainer to be proactive in planning.
So think about it, 125 Roth conversions last year. That means 125 people will now have future income that is 100% tax-free from the work that he's doing. To me, that's amazing.
It is amazing.
It's an absolutely amazing strategy that so many people do not take advantage of.
Because they don't know.
They don't know. And if you're not taking advantage of it, look, I've said this for 20 years. Your plan is only going to be as good as the person that is helping you. Because if they don't know the questions to ask, if they don't know the strategies to implement, how are you going to know? And this is why I encourage you to go to onthemoneyoffer.com. Start with getting the book and read it. Mark up the margins, take notes, and then schedule a complimentary retirement session with us. And we'll go through your situation and we'll see if we can help. And look, we can't help everybody.
True.
You know, I mean, we just can't. I mean, there's a lot of times people come in and there's not a lot we can do.
Or maybe they're on the right track.
Sometimes they're on the right track.
Tell them that too.
You know what? And if they are on the right track, we let them know that, because we don't move money just to move money. We want to move money to better the situation.
Yeah.
If we can't better your situation, we are not going to take you on as a client. It would be the wrong thing to do as a fiduciary. So again, folks, onthemoneyoffer.com. Go there right now to get this life-changing information so that you have a guide and a plan that you can trust for retirement.
All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us.
One of the biggest challenges people face when planning for retirement is simply knowing where to start. Over the years, I've sat with countless families who felt overwhelmed by all the information out there. And that's why I wrote my book, to cut through the noise and give you straightforward strategies to protect your money, avoid unnecessary risk, and build real financial confidence. Inside, you'll find step-by-step guidance on how to structure your retirement income, how to prepare for rising healthcare costs, and how to reduce the impact of taxes. It's not about complicated theories. It's about clear, actionable steps that anyone can follow. And here's the best part. I'd like to send you a complimentary copy of my book. No cost, no obligation, just real information that could make a difference in your retirement. This book has helped thousands of people better understand how to secure their financial future. If you're in that 5 to 10 year window of retirement, or you're already retired and you want to make sure you're not missing something, this book is for you. Call Secure Money Advisors today or visit us online at securemoneyadvisors.com to claim your complimentary copy today.
All right, welcome back and taming your questions. This one is from Cranberry. And let's see, Tom is 58 and Lisa is 56, so they're still very young.
Yep.
They say, we love your show. Thanks so much for the book. They've already gotten it. We do have some debt, but also an inheritance. Should we pay off our mortgage? I get that question a lot.
Yeah.
From friends.
Right.
What does Brian say about paying off mortgages? I'm like, I don't know. I just host the show.
Yeah, I'm a big yes.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I have even advised people for a short period of time to quit putting money in the 401k to pay off the mortgage. And here's why.
Okay.
Let's say your mortgage is $2,500 a month, okay? If I pay that $2,500 a month off, I no longer have that to pay. Do I not pick that up in cash flow now?
Yes.
Meaning I get to use that money now, right?
Yes.
It's no longer going out in an expense.
Yes.
So for every dollar that I pay off on that mortgage, I receive it back. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is, if you didn't pay off the mortgage and you continue to invest in your 401k, how much money is it going to take to replace that $2,500 a month in income? Meaning, how much are you going to have to build up your 401k to generate $2,500 a month in income versus paying it off where we're guaranteed to pick up that cash flow? Because even if you were putting a lot in the 401k, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be there, because right before you retire, the market could go down.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I could agree and disagree.
Okay,
with you,
fair
right?
enough.
I mean, we could all have an opinion on that. I mean, some of the things I typically will want to know is where are we at in that mortgage?
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Good
So if
point.
we're at the
And what's your
tail
interest
end,
rate?
Yeah, good point.
what's the interest rate?
Yeah.
Where are we at? So if we've paid interest for 27 years and we got 3 years left, you know, we've paid the bulk of the interest. We're really just hitting principal. I can agree absolutely wholeheartedly with your opinion on free up cash flow. That makes a ton of sense to somebody that's retiring. But can I get a safe rate of return and keep the money in my pocket?
True.
And be able to make my mortgage payments?
Yep.
Now, there's a talking head out there. I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy, but he talks about you should always pay off your mortgage.
Yep.
But he also says that you should invest your money in mutual funds, and you average 12% per year.
And you could take out
in
8% a year.
And you can take out 8% per year. But I'm always very confused because I'm always wondering, does he ask, what's your interest rate? Because if you're paying a 3% interest rate on your home and earning 12% on your mutual funds, it seems like that's
a very nice positive arbitrage.
Correct. So it doesn't seem like it makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, I don't believe that's a real rate of return, a 12% average. But if I could get a 5% guarantee, and I'm paying a very low interest rate and I'm at the tail end of the mortgage, I would maybe consider, based on the needs and the goals of that client, to maybe keep the money in my pocket and make the payments from the interest being earned.
This is why it is so powerful to work with a team of advisors, right? Because look at what just happened here.
I love it.
So when we're looking at cases together, these are the debates that we can have behind closed doors. Right? Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? Does it make sense? Somebody puts their other opinion in. See, a lot of people out there today, a lot of you have one person working for you. And that one person is the person not only giving you the advice, but they're also the person that's even placing your trades.
Right. I just had this happen because a client came over from another firm and they said, you know, when we ask him questions, we're not sure he's able to deliver the right answer. As we've kind of gone and researched after we asked the question, we're not real sure. And I said, well, how long's he been doing it? They said 10 years, he's got all the credentials, he's a CFP. I go, well, that's a pretty good amount of time in the business. You should have some good experience. And I said, well, where does he work? and he's a sole proprietor. So he has himself and one part-time assistant.
Yep.
And I said, well, there you go. There's the difference. I learn so much every week from you, from Michael, from Maggie, from Ben,
Yes.
from Luke, from all these guys in the office and women in the office
Yes.
with their different scenarios that they're seeing.
Yes.
And we're all talking shop. We love
Yes.
to
Yes.
kind of talk about all these unique situations. It's an unbelievable way to learn.
Because you really are engineering a plan.
Yeah, reverse engineer.
You're reverse engineering
Yeah.
a plan. And the first thing you're trying to do is, what do we have here that's good, right? What can we preserve here?
Yeah.
And then what can we improve upon, right? And sometimes you got to break the whole plan down completely and start from scratch because it's that bad. You talk to a lot of people that have been with these big box firms and they get passed from one advisor to the next, and these advisors work at the same firms, but yet they all have different opinions on how to approach it.
Right.
One great thing about secure money advisors is we might debate on a mortgage payoff, but the philosophy and the principle of how we get the client to a level of safety and guarantee so that they don't ever have to worry about running out of money in retirement, that philosophy is company-wide. We know it.
Yeah.
Everybody understands it.
That's right.
We don't deviate from it because I will never, ever put you in a situation to where I have to come back to you 3, 4, 5 years later and tell you that your plan that we put together is no longer going to work. It does not happen under our watch. So folks, I'm going to tell you right now, go to onthemoneyoffer.com right now, get a copy of the book, start right there. That book itself will give you so much clarity, and the information in that book will change your life. And then when you're done reading it, pass it along to somebody else. But then I'd recommend you set up a complimentary retirement session with the team. It's not a sales pitch. It's a time for you to come in, ask all the questions about your situation, and get clarity and understanding about what your future and your retirement is going to look like.
It is absolutely free and truly no obligation. They just love to meet all of you. Again, it even shows up in a gold envelope.
That's right.
And no charge at all. Stay with us. We'll be right back. More on how you can secure your money.
Overlooked areas of retirement planning is risk. I often ask people, do you know how much risk you're really taking with your investments? And most of the time, the answer is no. Here's the problem. If you're 5 or 10 years away from retirement or even already retired, the last thing you want is to be caught in a market downturn that wipes out a big portion of your nest egg. You may not have the time to recover. That's why we created our free risk quiz. It's designed to give you a clear picture of how much risk you're currently taking in your portfolio. Are you too aggressive? Are you too conservative? Or are you aligned with your goals and your timeline? What I love about this quiz is it takes all the guesswork out. You'll answer a few quick questions about your comfort level, your time horizon, and your goals. Then we'll match that with your actual portfolio to see if there's a mismatch. You'd be surprised how many people discover they're taking way more risk than they thought. Imagine going into retirement knowing that your portfolio actually matches your goals. No surprises, no sleepless nights. That's the peace of mind this quiz can provide. So scan the QR code on the screen or visit righttrackrisk.com to take the quiz and find out if your money matches your mindset.
All right, welcome back. So glad you're still with us. We're continuing to take your questions, Pittsburgh. This one comes from Mike and Deb. They are both 67 from Beaver. We're worried about outliving our retirement savings. What is a safe withdrawal strategy? What a great question.
All right, I'm going to take this one because in my book, I have a chapter called The 3 Most Important Interest Rates because a safe withdrawal strategy is different for everybody.
That's right.
All right, first off, the 3 most important interest rates that you have to understand is your spend down interest rate, meaning what rate of return am I going to need if I take out a certain amount of money every single month? How long is it going to take at that interest rate to spend that money down to zero during my lifetime? Then I want to know what rate of return do I need to take the certain amount of money out that I want, but preserve the principal.
Gotcha.
And then the legacy rate is what rate of return do I need to take the amount of money out that I want, but still grow my money. Now, once you start to get that range, let's just say that range of interest rates is from 3 to 6%. Now you know where your target needs to be. How do you know if you're doing well? Most of you do not know what success should look like when you're doing a review with your advisor, because there's been no conversation around what success looks like. They might report to you, we did 10% this year, we did 20%, you did 5% better than the S&P. Sounds good, but is that what you need? Is that what your success number is? Once you understand those three most important interest rates, now it becomes very clear that even on a mediocre year, you could still be in line with what your success goals should look like by just understanding those three most important interest rates. And I would tell you, go to onthemoneyoffer.com right now and get a copy of the book. It's absolutely free. Like Rebecca said, we send it to you in a gold envelope. It's like Willy Wonka showing up at your house with a golden ticket, right? Read it, pass it along to a friend, but I promise you it'll change your life and give you a different perspective on why it's so important to have a good advisory team on your side.
And it's so important. Go ahead, Neil. I'm sorry.
I think to add on to that, the preservation rate is the rate that most people really need to understand.
Yeah.
Right? Because
protecting.
A lot of people, they get to this point and they think they need these massive rates of return.
Yes, they do.
In order to live. And when you show them the preservation rate, they're going, gosh, I only need to average 3% on my money.
Right.
And I can basically withdraw money and live very comfortably. Why am I taking so much risk?
Correct.
And, because the market has been so good, you're right. Nobody knows if they're doing good.
Right. Yes.
We just had this analysis, Ben and I, with some folks. They had a longtime advisor. It was a friend of theirs. And what was interesting about this firm is they had their last 10 years rates of return right on the statement. So it was a lot of clarity of what they've performed. And when we compared it to the S&P 500, they followed the market up by about 40%. But when the market went down, they followed it by 80%.
Wow.
So when you think about that, they were very happy because a year like this was 2024, the market was up 20-some%. They were up 10.
Yep.
So they have $1.3 million, earned 10%. They're up $130,000. They think that's great.
Right.
But the reality is they underperformed.
Correct.
And so, a second opinion is always valuable.
Well, and this is why you don't have to put yourself in a position like that, because a lot of our clients choose to bucket their money for one very specific reason. In order to be successful in the market, the one thing you need on your side is time, okay? So many people are being given advice today to start withdrawing money from their risk accounts. Now, risk accounts are volatile on the way up, but they're volatile on the way down, right? When they go up, they don't just go straight up. Yeah. You could have 1 month it's up 10, you could have the next month it's down 5, up 15. You follow me?
Right.
And most people typically will set up some type of monthly systematic withdrawal, which means that every month they're withdrawing money. So what happens on the month that the market is down and they're pulling money out?
Compounding your losses.
They're compounding their losses.
I learned that from you.
Even though the market may end up at the end of the year, but here's what they're doing. They don't even realize it. They are disturbing the compounding interest. So what we want to do with risk money at all times is never take income from it. You will destroy the compounding effect of that money. Yeah. You will slow down the growth of that money. And this is why so many of our clients choose to bucket their money, because we need to set up a foundation for cash flow. Once that's done, the remainder of the money, we want the majority of the money going in the market, but we want it to be 10-year money or longer, because we know any 10-year time period in the market, if you look at the charts, has the highest probability of always being up.
Interesting.
And to answer their question based on just the general rule of thumb, they say 4% is the right withdrawal amount. So if you had $1 million saved for retirement, they're saying that your first year, you should pull out $40,000 to supplement pensions and Social Security. Now, the challenge is, as time has gone on since that rule was developed, about 50% of the time, people are failing in retirement.
Yeah.
In fact, this talking head that I spoke about earlier has said, take out 8%.
Right, because you're going to average 12.
Because you're going to average 12.
If the market stays up.
Yeah.
And
that's guesswork, right?
Right.
They fact-checked and ran some results from taking out 8%.
Yep.
And they said if you follow an 8% withdrawal rule, there is a 97% chance that you will fail. 97% chance you will fail if you take out 8%.
Let's rephrase fail.
Yeah.
That's a 97% chance you're going to freaking run out of money and be broke.
Exactly.
Okay?
Run out
Let's
of money.
call it what it is.
And that's
I'm going to tell you, that's a shitty day.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why it's a shitty day. It's a shitty day because it's not the day you run out of money that sucks. It's the day you figure out you're going to run out of money that sucks.
So true.
Right?
It's so
And if
true.
they got to bleep this out, they bleep it out. But I'm so passionate about it because these idiot big box firms have people convinced that this is the way to do it. It's not the way to do it.
Right.
It's not. Trust me, I've studied this for 25 years. And you're being given wrong advice. You have to have a strategy where you're bucketing your money and every dollar has a purpose. You've got to set up foundations first. None of us, including myself, can live and go into retirement without a consistent stream of income that's going to be there for the rest of my life, if I die, the rest of my spouse's life. I always want to have money in the market to keep pace with inflation. That is an absolute must. I want to put the least amount of money into an income annuity that can generate me a private pension. If I could get a pension from a company, that would be great. But at Secure Money Advisors, we don't have a pension, we have a 401k. But everybody in the company knows how to create their own pension. You see, the 401k is a great vehicle for accumulation, but it's a terrible vehicle for creating income. And every single one of you is given advice to just roll that 401k over to an IRA, diversify it, and keep doing the same thing. And the advisor typically says, when you need money, just call me, we'll start sending it to you. That is not a plan. That is not a plan. You have high probability of risk there. You've got a high probability of running out of money. Go to onthemoneyoffer.com right now. Get a copy of the book. Look, don't procrastinate on this. I know it could be scary to sit down with an advisor and everything. We're not going to judge you where you're at. We want to help. OnTheMoneyOffer.com. Go there right now and get a copy of the book today.
Beautifully said. And he said the word that we always say, plan, plan, plan. A failure to plan is a plan to fail. We love you, Pittsburgh. We'll see you next week.